You know that feeling, right? You jump onto a new app or a website,
Yeah.
and it just flows.
Yeah.
You instinctively know where everything is, what to click, how to
Yeah.
get things done. It feels, well, easy.
Hmm.
Then there's the flip side. You're completely lost, frustrated, tapping around wildly thinking, why on earth is this so hard?
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating kind of invisible architecture behind those digital experiences, how your brain makes sense of them, and how designers either totally nail that understanding or, completely miss the mark.
It's an absolutely universal experience, that intuitive flow or that jarring disconnect. And it almost always comes down to something we call mental models.
That's our models.
Yeah. So in this deep dive, our mission is to peel back the layers and understand what these mental models are, how they're formed in our minds, and crucially, how they dictate basically every interaction we have with technology.
From the simplest app to...
To the most complex AI systems, exactly.
That's right. Our goal is to give you a genuine shortcut to being really well informed about this hidden psychology of user experience.
Mm-mm.
We're going to unpack why some designs feel utterly effortless, what makes others just infuriating, and how a deep understanding of human cognition is truly this secret sauce.
It really is, for creating digital tools that don't just work but feel natural.
You'll gain insights that, I promise, will change how you view every app, website, and digital interaction you have moving forward. You'll start seeing it everywhere.
And to do that, we've pulled together a pretty rich stack of sources. We'll be drawing from practical UI design examples that show common pitfalls,
Okay.
alongside deeper academic research on how our minds actually organize information, and even some cutting-edge insights into how AI is now challenging our very understanding of expertise and cognition.
All right, let's unpack this core idea then. We all walk around with this internal blueprint for how things should work, whether it's, I don't know, a physical door handle or a digital save button.
Yeah, exactly.
So what exactly is that internal blueprint, and maybe how does it differ from what the designers might actually be thinking when they build something?
That's a great starting point, because what's fascinating here is the distinction between your mental model and what we call a conceptual model.
Okay.
So a mental model is simply what you, the user, form in your head about how a system operates. It's your internal representation, often simplified, maybe even a bit incomplete.
Right. My personal theory of how it works.
Exactly. Your theory. You use it to reason about the system, figure out how to interact with it, what to do when things inevitably go wrong. It's personal, it's yours, and it evolves.
Okay. And the conceptual model.
The conceptual model, on the other hand, is the designer's articulation of their mental model of the system. It's how they envision, it's organized, what users can do, what concepts they need to understand, how they'll interact.
So that's the intended blueprint.
Precisely. The entire goal of good design, then, is to ensure that your mental model, the user's, aligns as closely as possible with the designer's conceptual model. Think of it like a map.
Right.
The designer creates the map, the conceptual model, and your mental model is your interpretation of it as you try to navigate the territory.
So if my mental map of how to navigate that website doesn't line up with the designer's intended route,
That's where you hit a roadblock.
that's where the frustration immediately creeps in.
Yeah.
It's like trying to use a map drawn for a different city.
Exactly. And when those maps don't align, it leads to real problems.
Yeah.
Let's look at some real-world examples, actually. We pulled some from one of our sources. 7 bad UI design examples you can learn from.
Oh, good. Examples.
Yeah, you've probably experienced some of these frustrations yourself. And these aren't just minor annoyances. They highlight how bad design isn't merely an aesthetic issue. It directly leads to user frustration, inefficiency, and for businesses, often missed opportunities.
I'm ready. Lay it on me. What's a common culprit?
Well, okay, take the Kindle Mac app, for instance.
Yeah.
Huge user base, right? 30 million users.
Yeah.
But it's often cited for its overloaded search results display.
What does that mean?
Instead of the standard, non-obtrusive sidebar for search results that we've all kind of come to expect.
Right. The list on the site.
Yeah, their unconventional method really overcomplicates a traditionally straightforward feature. You get this full screen takeover that just completely disrupts your reading flow.
Well, I hate that.
Yeah. The golden rule here, which they arguably missed, is keep user needs front and center, and often that means sticking to established conventions people already understand. Don't reinvent the wheel unnecessarily.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
When a simple search, which should be totally intuitive, suddenly requires extra steps or a whole new screen, it immediately breaks your mental model of how search should work. It
Exactly.
pulls you right out of what you were doing. What's another common misstep? Maybe around like feature prioritization.
That's an excellent follow-up. Consider Spotify. Now, its mobile UI is often praised, generally pretty sleek.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Right. But our sources point out instances of misplaced priorities. Sometimes, secondary or less used features are made more visually prominent than main ones, like the core search function.
Right.
So for a new user, or even an experienced one, just trying to quickly find some music, having to hunt for the search bar because some, I don't know, niche playlist feature is bigger or brighter, it can be genuinely puzzling. It just decreases satisfaction.
I see your point there. You expect certain core actions, search, play, library, to be front and center, easy to find. If you have to hunt for them, it's immediately jarring.
It makes you question yourself first.
Yeah, like am I missing something obvious? When really it's the design.
Absolutely. Another classic example of this conceptual model clash comes from LastPass, the password manager, platform used by millions. For a long time, its mobile website essentially just mirrored its desktop version. It created a truly jarring user experience.
Oh no, not responsive.
Not really, no. Vital account settings, things you need to access easily on a small screen, were squeezed into these tiny, almost unreadable sections. It forced users into endless scrolling or that frustrated pinching and zooming.
Ugh, the worst.
Yeah, this is the quintessential desktop-only approach mistake. It really underscores the critical need for responsive design, ensuring a consistent, usable experience across all devices. The conceptual model has to adapt to the context.
So what about information overload? I feel like I encounter that everywhere online. My mental model is often, less is more for clarity, but some sites just throw everything at you.
You are absolutely not alone in that feeling. IMDb, for example, it's incredibly rich with information, which is great in theory.
Yeah, tons of info.
But it can be really overwhelming due to what's been called a clunky user interface.
Clunky, okay.
Yeah. Prominent ads, way too many competing elements, all vying for your attention on, say, an actor's page, and just a general jumble of visuals. Often the visual hierarchy, what's most important versus less important, is completely off.
So you don't know where to look first.
Exactly. The goal isn't necessarily minimalism just for the sake of it, but rather clarity. That means structured layouts, clear visual cues telling you what's clickable or important, and enhanced navigation tools like breadcrumbs.
The little trail showing where you are.
Right. Those help users build a coherent mental model of where they are in the site and how to move around effectively.
What really stands out to me across all these examples is that these aren't small, obscure platforms.
No.
These are huge, widely used sites.
Exactly.
Making these fundamental mistakes that disrupt our common mental models of how things generally work online. It's like they're breaking unspoken rules we all kind of rely on.
Indeed. And what's even more fascinating, I think, is that our mental models aren't static blueprints fixed in time. They're dynamic.
Oh.
They're constantly being constructed and modified through our interaction with the system. Research, like a study on the construction of mental models of information-rich web spaces using Medline Plus.
Medline Plus, the health site.
That's the one, yeah. It really shows this process in action. It's not just a one-and-done understanding you form instantly.
So my mental model actually changes and evolves as I use a system more.
That makes so much sense. It's like how I eventually learned to navigate a really complex video game menu system.
Precisely. Or learned your way around a new city.
Tell us more about that Medline Plus study. How did they measure that?
Okay, so in that study, they measured subjects' mental models at different time points. First, after just a brief exploration, like a quick look around.
Yeah.
And then again after completing progressively simple and then more complex tasks on the site. And the findings revealed that these mental models had kind of three dynamic dimensions.
Three dimensions.
Yeah. Structure, so how the user perceived the site's organization. Evaluation and emotion, how they felt about the site. Its trustworthiness, ease of use, things like that.
Right, the vibe.
Kind of, yeah. And expected behaviors, what users anticipated the system would do in response to their actions.
And the study showed that as users gained more experience with Medline Plus, their mental models became significantly more detailed. They shifted from just general observations about the site, oh, it has health info, to more specific insights about deep-level web pages and typical page layouts.
They start seeing the patterns.
Exactly. And crucially, they also began to develop heuristics.
Heuristics, like rules of thumb.
Precisely. Mental shortcuts. Essentially, their own personal set of rules for efficiently using the system based on their experience. If I want X, I usually go here first.
So we're not just learning the specific steps, we're developing an intuition almost
Hmm.
for how the entire thing operates, predicting its responses. That's incredible.
It really is.
Does that imply designers should sometimes design for a bit of a learning curve? Or should they still always aim for immediate clarity? Is there a balance?
Ah, that's a critical question. The study revealed that task complexity significantly impacted this model construction.
How so?
Simple tasks, where the path to the answer was pretty clear, definitely helped users quickly recognize the system's underlying information architecture. They could see the
Made
structure.
it easier to build the map.
Right. It helped them adopt more sophisticated, system-specific search strategies. It solidified their mental model faster.
Okay.
However, complex tasks, the ones requiring more cognitive effort, more problem solving, sometimes they consumed so much of the user's attention, so much brain power,
Yeah.
that it actually hindered their ability to properly represent the system elements in their mind. They might even revert back to more general, less efficient search strategies they'd use anywhere, like just typing basic keywords into a search bar rather than leveraging the site's specific filters or navigation.
It's like when you're really stressed trying to solve a complex puzzle. You forget the specific tools or tricks you learned. You just flail.
That's a perfect analogy. You're just trying to survive the task, not learn the system.
Wow.
And what's more, the study found users initially employed analogies to understand the subject matter, comparing Medline Plus to familiar sites like WebMD or PubMed for health information. Oh, it's like WebMD.
Makes sense. Using what you know.
But with more experience, they started using analogies to understand the structure of the system itself, comparing its navigation patterns or layout to other well-known sites. Oh, finding information here works kind of like on Amazon.
Ah, interesting shift.
Yeah. It highlights how metaphors can be really powerful tools to bridge understanding, but they must be chosen carefully and maybe even evolve with the user's journey. A good metaphor can guide you, a bad or outdated one can seriously mislead you.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, connecting this to something even bigger. This whole idea of us constantly building and refining these internal models. It raises a really important question about how we inherently try to make sense of the entire world around us, not just digital systems.
Exactly. You've hit on a crucial point. This concept of building internal models is deeply, deeply rooted in human cognition. It goes far beyond just digital interfaces.
Right.
Our source, the Universal Cognitive Grammar of Systems Mapping, highlights that humans are fundamentally architects of knowledge. That's the phrase they use.
Architects of knowledge, I like it.
Yeah. We build intellectual constructions through all our experiences, physical and mental. We literally map out concepts when things are complex, confusing, or simply curious. It's how we make the intangible tangible. It's a core human drive.
Like drawing things out on a whiteboard to clarify an idea for a team, or even just doodling in your notebook to organize your thoughts for an essay.
Precisely. That act of visual mapping is inherently visual, obviously, but also kinesthetic. You're touching, moving, arranging things, even if just with a pen,
Mm.
and it's object-oriented, you're dealing with distinct things and their connections. It's incredibly powerful because it helps us comprehend, organize, retain, and communicate ideas much more effectively.
Yeah, a flowchart makes a complex process so much easier to grasp.
Absolutely. It also helps synthesize multiple viewpoints and fosters collaboration. And the theory is the more we do it out there, physically mapping things, the better we get at doing it in here.
Ah, training our internal mapping skills.
Exactly. Increasing our ability to handle complex ideas internally.
Okay.
And there's a particularly powerful framework related to this called DSRP cognitive theory. It posits 4 simple, universal rules for thinking and knowledge creation. Rules we unconsciously apply all the time.
4 rules. Okay, what are they?
First, the distinctions rule. Any idea or thing can be distinguished from other things. Pretty basic, right? But think about UX. How clearly does a submit button need to be distinguished from a cancel button? That's the distinctions rule in action.
Got it. Making things clearly different.
Second, the systems rule. Any idea or thing can be split into parts or lumped into a whole. Consider an e-commerce site. The whole site is a system. The checkout process is a distinct subsystem within it, and the individual payment options are parts of that subsystem. Understanding these nested systems helps users navigate and helps designers structure things logically.
Okay, parts and wholes. Makes sense.
Third, the relationships rule. Any idea or thing can relate to other ideas or things. We naturally look for connections. When you click on a product on a website and see related items or customers also bought,
Yeah.
that's directly leveraging the relationships rule in the design.
Connecting the dots.
Okay.
Okay. And the last one.
Finally, the perspectives rule. Any idea or thing can be the point or the view of a perspective. On a social media app, for example, your profile shows you your posts, your perspective. But when you look at someone else's profile, you're seeing their perspective. A good design makes it easy to understand and shift between these different viewpoints.
So in a way, we're all constantly applying these four fundamental rules, distinctions, systems, relationships, perspectives, consciously or unconsciously, whenever we try to understand a new system, solve a problem, or even just navigate a new website.
That's the idea.
It's like our brain's basic operating system for making sense of complexity.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how modern software tools like Plectica, Whimsical, Miro are essentially built on this innate human tendency.
The virtual whiteboard tools.
Right. They allow individuals and teams to create complex visualizations, mind maps, flowcharts, system diagrams really quickly, turning abstract thoughts into these compelling, manipulatable representations that everyone can understand and work with together. They're basically digitizing our natural cognitive grammar.
Okay, now let's take this a step further into the present and maybe the near future. We're seeing AI tools absolutely everywhere now.
Oh, yeah.
Generating wireframes, suggesting design changes, even writing code. How does this explosion of AI impact our mental models and, maybe more profoundly, our very sense of expertise and understanding?
This brings us to a really important and maybe slightly cautionary discussion around what's being called the illusion of expertise.
Illusion of expertise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. AI's incredible ability to process vast amounts of data and generate outputs really quickly can lead us, the users, to implicitly assume that AI-generated content or recommendations are somehow infallible, or that the AI itself possesses genuine understanding, not just pattern recognition.
Right. It looks so polished and confident.
Exactly. And UX studies are already showing that people often equate technical complexity with competence. So the more complex the AI seems, the more we might trust it, perhaps uncritically.
So it's like we start to treat the AI as the smartest person in the room without necessarily double-checking its work, even if it's just really, really good at finding patterns in data.
Yeah.
That feels a bit unsettling.
It absolutely is, because the crucial point here, and we have to keep reminding ourselves, is that AI systems are not sentient experts.
Right.
They are sophisticated pattern recognizers, and they are inherently limited by the data they were trained on. If we just blindly accept AI suggestions, we risk eroding our own human expertise, our intuition, by promoting what researchers call cognitive shortcuts.
Where we just outsource our thinking instead of engaging with it.
Precisely. Rather than using AI to enhance our thinking, we just let it do the thinking for us.
That's the danger then. If we just accept AI's output without critical engagement, we might actually be undermining our own critical thinking skills and deeper understanding over time.
That's the concern.
So what can designers do? How can we build AI systems that counteract this, that ensure AI becomes a true collaborator rather than just a crush that makes us lazy?
That's exactly the challenge designers are grappling with now. To counteract this illusion of expertise and foster genuine human-AI collaboration and critical thinking, the idea is to integrate established cognitive frameworks directly into the AI system design.
Okay, like using our understanding of how we think to shape how AI helps us think.
Exactly. For instance, take cognitive load theory. We know our mental bandwidth for processing information is limited.
Right. Can only juggle so many things.
So, when designing AI, this means, yes, simplify low-value repetitive tasks to reduce that cognitive load. Let AI handle the grunt work, but conversely, actively encourage meaningful engagement and critical thinking in high-value, complex tasks where human insight, judgment, and creativity are essential.
Okay, so AI handles the busy work, frees up our brain power, but we still need to actively think about the important stuff. It's about optimizing where our focus goes.
Exactly. Then there's the effort reduction framework. This recognizes that, yeah, people naturally seek to reduce mental effort. We like easy.
Guilty as charged.
We all are. And AI is great at reducing effort, but designers can build features that actually reward exploration and problem solving within the AI tool, rather than only reducing effort.
How would that work?
Maybe through gamified elements or providing transparent explanations of the AI's reasoning so you can learn from it, or even prompts that encourage you to try alternative approaches yourself before accepting the AI's first suggestion. It makes the user an active participant, not just a passive recipient clicking accept.
I like that, keeping the user engaged.
We also need to consider heuristics and biases. We humans are prone to all sorts of cognitive biases like over-trusting familiar patterns or confirmation bias, where we favor info that confirms what we already believe.
Right.
AI can inadvertently amplify these if we're not careful. Therefore, AI systems should ideally implement feedback loops that deliberately prompt reflection and questioning. They should be designed to discourage overtrusting familiar AI outputs and instead nudge users to challenge assumptions.
Like an AI saying, "Are you sure about that? Have you considered this alternative?"
Something like that, yeah. A built-in critical friend. And related to that is diminishing cognitive offloading.
Offloading. Like saving a phone number instead of memorizing it.
Exactly. Our brain's tendency to rely on external tools like AI to store and process information instead of using our own memory or critical thought. To counter this, we need to encourage a balanced use of AI.
Balanced use.
Prompting users to interact, explain, and reflect on the AI's outputs, not just passively accept them. For example, an AI might generate a marketing slogan, but then it asks you to explain why you think that slogan is effective, forcing you to engage critically.
Making you articulate the reasoning.
Yes. And finally, we need to address the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Oh, the one where people who know a little think they know a lot.
That's the one. People with limited knowledge often overestimate their competence. AI can worsen this by making users feel much more competent than they actually are, simply because the AI's output looks professional and polished.
Right. I generated this amazing report. Well, the AI did.
Exactly. So to combat this, AI interfaces could include things like self-assessment prompts, collaborative feedback mechanisms where others review the AI-assisted work, and clear opportunities for users to compare their own independent thinking with the AI suggestions. It fosters a more realistic sense of their actual understanding and contribution.
This is fascinating. It's like designing AI not just for sheer efficiency or even just for user satisfaction in the moment, but actually designing for wisdom.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about preserving and maybe even enhancing human cognitive capabilities in the long run, not just replacing them or letting them atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a profound shift in how we need to think about these tools.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive has genuinely reframed how I think about basically every single interaction I have with technology now, and maybe even how I approach problem solving in general.
It changes your perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. From those
Right.
subtle nudges of good UI that just feel right to the grand architecture of how our minds process information and build these mental models, it's all so deeply connected.
It really is. And understanding mental models is truly a critical skill now, I believe, whether you're a designer trying to craft intuitive experiences.
Or a business owner trying to make your website work better. Or, frankly, just a user trying to navigate our increasingly complex digital world more effectively. It's about designing for the human mind with respect for how we actually work, not just designing at it.
Yeah, and the dynamic nature of it all, how our understanding evolves with experience and task complexity, or how AI presents both this huge opportunity and this potential pitfall for our expertise. It all speaks to the incredibly fluid and active nature of learning and interaction today.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you, our listener, as you go about your day? Maybe next time you encounter a new app or find yourself struggling with a poorly designed interface, just take a moment.
Pause and reflect.
Yeah. Consider this. What mental model are you trying to form? How does it seem to clash with what the system is actually presenting to you? Where's the disconnect? And how could conscious design or even just your own conscious engagement and maybe a bit of that DSRP thinking help bridge that gap? The power to influence and improve not only our digital experiences, but perhaps even our own understanding of the world really lies in becoming more aware of these invisible mental blueprints that guide us all.